Good morning, Year 7. Welcome to our final assembly. I hope you're all well. Let's get started. I've got started assembly a few sort of facts and things to get across. So let's get that out of the way before we have some other information. We start Wednesday, the 2nd of September at 8:30. Okay, it's different for different year groups, so you need to know that year 8 will start at 8:30. So you are the first ones into the school on that day, so make sure you come in. All the exact arrangements will come out during the holidays, so watch out for the weekly newsletter from Mr. Mitchell. You'll get various things on either being sent to you by text or email or even by printing out letters. Make sure you read them carefully. A few things to think about. I've met quite a few of you over the last few weeks and you have definitely grown. There's quite a few of you now as tall as your parents. Please check that your uniform fits. And if you need new blazers and so on, get it early. You should be able to buy new things online and pay for them on Squid. That's being set up at the moment. So please think about doing it, getting it done early so you can pick things up over the summer and be ready to come back on Wednesday, the 2nd of December at 8:30. Just a few things about when we do come back. There might be changes that the government announced, but there are a few things that are definitely going to happen. And the first thing I want to say is how much of it depends on you being responsible for keeping yourself safe and keeping other people safe. So we have found systems in the school to make sure that all the year groups stay away from the other year groups. So if you find yourself in a position at any point where you're about to start mixing with other year groups, with year 7 or year 9 or year 12 or whoever, it's your responsibility to stay away from other year groups. So that is my first commandment, stay away from other year groups. Even within our year group, we should be trying to keep as much distance between each other as possible to avoid the virus spreading. And the school are doing a few things. So for example, places where it's crowded, like the restaurant at break time, there will be no restaurant at break time. So if you want to eat at that time, you'll need to bring a snack with you for break time. Lunch will be available at lunchtime, but you all know how crowded it is in there. So what we are doing is we're going to let you have packed lunches and eat them outside. So I really recommend that you give that some consideration and you bring a packed lunch that you eat outside on the wooden benches in the playground rather than a queue up and go into a crowded restaurant. Even though it will just be our year, it will be crowded. There will be a one-way system in the school which you'll need to follow to move around. We'll explain that on your first day. Another place where it's really busy is on public transport. So I really suggest that if you can, you walk to school and avoid public transport, and you avoid all of the hassles that are there. If you are being dropped at school, I would suggest to parents maybe they drop you not right by the school, but a little bit further away, because I think there will be a lot of traffic. We want to avoid that. If you are coming by bus or by train, please make sure you are wearing a suitable face covering. You'll need it for the buses and the trains. You'll need it for the shops. I suggest you have one that you keep with you all the time. And if it's a disposable one, you hand it in when you come into the school. If you've got a long-term one, you need a little plastic bag so you keep it safe during the day. There is a little addition to the equipment list. So apart from your pen, pencil, ruler and so on, you now need to have a hand sanitizer bottle with you as well. Okay, so make sure you're sorting that out. Don't leave that to the last moment. because we're going to rely on you cleaning your hands at every opportunity to avoid catching this virus and spreading it around. Other information. Catch Up and Study Hall will be starting at the end of the first week. So students who have not been accessing lessons during lockdown or have not been handing work in will be having sessions after school to make sure you cover the things that you have missed. I have made a list of people who I think have not been doing what they might. I currently have about 16 students on that list. I am aware that my list might not be accurate. I know some students have been using either the parents log on or have been just using Show My Homework without logging on. If you have, I will, and you're on my list, then if you bring me evidence showing that you've done all your work and you have been the same sort of things, then I will remove you from my list. I have got a list of things that you might be expected to have done, which I'll show you in a moment. If you haven't done those things, I suggest that you use some of the summer to catch up with things that you have missed. You can use Show My Homework to go back and look at all the work that's been set over the last 3 months and make sure you have done your best with it. There will also be tests in October on all the material that you've covered in Year 7 and the material you've covered at the start of Year 8. And we'll report that in our usual reporting system, and we'll also be meeting with parents to discuss it. If there are students who I think have been particularly disappointing with those tests, they might also go on to Catch Up and Study Hall. So you may want to spend a little bit of time over just revising and making sure you're ready for coming back and doing tests in October. We will spend quite a bit at the start of the autumn about how you should approach tests. One of the things you've missed over lockdown is doing your Year 7 end of year exams. And so I'm going to ask you to approach your first set of Year 8 exams in a very serious fashion to get some practice of doing exams. So here's quick bits I put on here about things you have done in the different subjects. I will put a Word document with these things on the Show My Homework as well, so you can see the things from English and French, from geography and history, from RSPE, from science, from all the different subjects. Okay, so this will be on Show My Homework, so you can make sure you've got all the work from the last few months done, in case you need to see it at the start of Year 8. Okay, we've got to say a few goodbyes. So I'm aware of 4 of you going. There may be more. I don't know. If you are leaving between now and September, please put an email to the school so we're aware. But I'd like to say a big goodbye to Giovanni, Pedro, Natalia and Maya. You've all been amazing. I wish you the very best of luck in what you do. And if you are back in the area, do pop in and see us and keep in touch. I wish you the very best. You've been a real contribution in the year with all of you. So good luck. I will miss you. Wouldn't be an assembly without a word of the week. So I picked one of my favourite words to finish off with. I noticed it as I was coming to work yesterday morning. It's a word petrichor, and it refers to the smell in the atmosphere after it's been a long dry period, then it suddenly rains and there is a smell that comes up from it. Some people like it, some people don't. To me, it's a real one of those smells that takes me back to being young many years ago. It's a very evocative smell. It's petrichor. The smell that accompanies the first rain in a long period of warm, dry weather. So you often get it in the summer when it's been dry for 3, 4, 5 weeks, and suddenly it rains. And there's a smell after the rain has finished. That is petrichor. Allegedly, it's caused by a liquid mixture of organic compounds in the ground. I've always thought it's something to do with the pollution that is on the floor being splashed up, but I don't know. It comes from the Greek petra, which is the Greek word for stone or rock. So there you go. That's a word of the week to use, something you might have learned. Okay. A quick review of the year. If you think back, just 1 year ago, you were coming in for your taster days, you'd had your summer trip to your primary schools, and I showed you my map, and we talked about finding our way around the maze that is Ashcroft. And on the whole, I've been really impressed with how you've adapted to life in the school, and I would say that you have created a great first impression. Got to say, now is when the hard work starts, because that first year is about settling down, finding a way about learning the rules, getting in habits, and now we're stepping up the work. The end of year 8, you'll be picking your GCSEs, and it's at that stage where you really think about this bit over here, the other side of the river, your future, what sort of jobs you're going to be having, what sort of universities, colleges, apprenticeships that you might go to. So let's pause for a moment and see what else is on this map, and things that you might do to help reach your professions, your jobs, your careers, your own businesses and whatever. The large part is still the exam success, and most of you, I'm quite pleased with the progress you've made this year. I think you are starting to develop a lot of the relevant experiences. So some of the students I've met have talked about their portfolio. If they want to go into things like architecture, they started doing drawings. If they want to go into science, they've been getting involved in STEAM. Going that extra mile, doing things outside of your classes, which are going to make you special. Building up the skills that are outside of your subject and the awareness of the wider world. I think a lot of you are getting the soft skills, that ability to work with others and cooperate, talk and manage and plan, how to organise. I think there's been a lot of that. One of the things I want to ask you over the holidays is to start thinking about careers and jobs and the path that you're going to go to after school. So I'll come back and say that in a moment. Our very first assembly of the year was about trajectory, the first word I did with you. And I just want to picture you at this point here from the middle of my graph. So for some of you, it's because you've had a great year. You've improved your life chances. For some of you, maybe it's not been the best year, very few of you, and you've probably reduced your life chances. I think the vast majority of you are somewhere between this orange and this green line on the way up. But if you're not, if you're on these other blue, red, purple lines, now is the opportunity to take control and to start changing your trajectory and lifting your path to be a bit more steep towards the up, so that you're improving your life chances with the hard work that you're putting into school now. So ponder your trajectory over this year. Be honest with yourself. Are you going to have to work harder next year? Are you going to have to make changes next year? Are you happy with the progress you're making? Are there rooms for improvement? And so pause and have a little think about the path you're on. Nope, that's just a repeat of it. Summer homework. You'll get homework from a number of subjects over there. I'm going to set you a couple of bits myself. I would like you to read a book. I've put in 2 book lists up. The first one is sort of modern books that are appropriate for your age group. So maybe look at one of those. This second one is more classic books for teenagers. Again, you might want to pick one of those, but I'd like you to read a book. You don't have to do anything else apart from read a book. Reading a book is good, but you don't have to hand anything in. Although I might ask you when you get back, did you read a good book? One thing I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of work, and it really is 20 minutes, half an hour, is to start thinking about careers. So I've put a link on to show my homework, this website here, to a thing called STAR. And it's a careers website. And what you can do is you can go and you can find different jobs, and you can find out about what job that does, how much work you've got to do, the hours you've got to put in, what qualifications you might need to get in there, and what's the best route. Do you need to go to university? Do you need to get an apprenticeship? Do you need to pass English and science? What it is there, and then a little bit about whether you think it's a job you might do. So I want you to go to that website, pick one of the many professions that are there, and do a little bit of exploratory work on there. And what you're going to do in a Word document in Teams, so I'll put there, you're going to say the name of the job, a little description of the job, how much the pay is, how many hours there are, what the qualifications are, and whether it's something you might consider. So there'll be more on as an assignment on Teams for you to have a look at. So see if you can look. If the assignment on Teams doesn't appear for you, just go to that website and do a little bit of writing answering those points. Okay, I'm just going to play you something. Can I encourage you to follow the link to the Ashtabul? I think Mr. Bartolo is putting it up. She'll not put it up today, she'll put it up tomorrow. And it's so good to see so many Year 7s on there. So well done to all of you. And I'm going to give you my contribution. So in a second you're going to hear Freight Train, not by Elizabeth Cotton, but by me. Elizabeth Cotton was born about, I think it's about 1890, and she wrote the tune I'm about to play for you when she was your age, I think when she was 12. So you've got now a minute to listen to me play the guitar. That's enough of that. So it might be a bit quiet, probably didn't miss much. Okay, Year 7, that is the end of the year as far as I'm concerned. So have a great break over the summer. Stay well, stay healthy, stay sensible, do all the things you know I want you to do. And I will see you at 8:30, Wednesday, 2nd of September. Be early. I will see you there. Okay. Have a great summer, everyone.